active duty service members, veterans, family members, thank you for your service. And thank you for listening to Return to Roots Mil2Vet Resource Podcast, where we document our shared experiences, stories, and transitioning and reintegrating from the military to the community. Hosted by two transitioning service members, myself, Chris Elder, and my partner in crime, Jonathan Hernandez. For more information, go to mil2vet.com. If you have little ears, ensure you listen to the content before you allow them to listen. And if you are in crisis and homelessness, suicide ideations, or incarceration, dial 211 Courage to Call for assistance. Now, stand by for the sound of freedom.
Return to Roots. Today, we bring you a very close person to both Chris and I. He is a retired Master Chief with some experience. He transitioned out of the military not too long ago, and he shares with us his vulnerabilities and his transition before the military, his journey during the military, and his transition out. Without further ado, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Yogi.
I started with Nüch back in from 07 to 09. And Chris, when were you and Nüch together?
Man, we were together on the Nimitz. I believe you checked in 2013, if I'm not mistaken.
12 to 14, I think. Yeah, 12 to 14.
Okay. Yeah, you checked in late 2012, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you left right before. I'm like, man, this guy checked in before me or checked in after me and left before me. I'm like, what the heck?
Y'all ran me out of there, man. All y'all promoted, all you guys promoted and ran me out, man. I was like, hey, what can I say? So no, it was 12, yeah, because that was the year I bought that place just a couple blocks not too far from where you're from, down in Monroe.
So tell us a little bit about your experience in the military. Who are you for everybody else that doesn't know you?
Oh man. Well, it was what was it, 94, came in, and I was one of those yeah, man. We got this cool apprenticeship program, man. You can come in and see what you like to do and pick your job, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, that sounds like a hell of a deal. Next thing you know, line check, so hit that up for a little bit and moved on into being a jet mech and did that for a couple of squadrons and went from Hornets to 60s and then on to the hangar at AMD in Atsugi. And that was a pretty fun tour, I tell you. That was where I would say probably one of my more influential tours as a first class there. It was pretty that was a lot of fun. Chief, they ran me across the street over the DVACs where we met, and then after that onto a staff duty, and then to Nimitz where I met Chris, and then God, Chris will remember this. Tried to put in for retirement, and that got shot down. And
okay, whoa, no, this guy. So okay, you just made it sound. You just totally downplayed it. So this guy puts in for retirement, right? He's the senior chief, and he's in charge of the quality assurance department on the ship. And he puts in his retirement, and then he pretty much goes, okay, I need this retirement. And he's like checking the message traffic over and over again. He's like, man, they still haven't approved my stuff. And he goes, and I'm not sure if Nüch, you're not a short guy. You're pretty tall. And he's just huffing and puffing in the hangar bay and everywhere he's at.
I was looking for a straw house, man.
And then literally he gets phone calls from the rest of the chiefs.
Yeah.
His message of denial
Glover
came
called
through.
me up. Yeah. Remember that crazy AS dude? Remember Rob Glover? He said,
oh yeah.
I heard about that. Oh yeah, I'm getting the message emailed to me as if I couldn't find it on message traffic. I was like, you check this. I can't believe you guys. Oh, Jack
sure they
Walker
probably-
giving me a hard time. Oh yeah, they turned it up, dude.
Oh yeah, they gave you a ton of shit.
Oh my
And then what happened?
And then you guys decided to turn me into a freaking mash chief, and then they said, "Hey, we got a deal for you. We're sending you back to Japan." So, thanks for all the hard work, guys. But damn it, I wanted to retire. I just wanted to stay over there in Washington. But it's all good, man. You know what? At the end, man, I'm very blessed. I had man, if I could sum it up in just a few words, I had a wonderful 20-some years being surrounded with just absolutely incredible people who did these incredible things. And you guys, I'm not, yeah, it does get emotional, man. You guys worked really hard. Guys, like especially the two of you guys, a lot of people worked really, really hard. So I'm not one of those guys to say, "Oh yeah, this is on me, man. I'm king of the hill, blah, blah, blah. I did this, I did, yeah. It wasn't that at all, dude. It was a lot of guys push me up, man. And I mean, you two were a big part of that. And I appreciate it.
And for me, on my perspective, I mean, I came to Japan and it was a very crucial time. I was an E5.
Mhm.
And I had a hard time with my transition from being an E5 for a while, and then finally making first class right after I left. But one of the biggest things that I took and I learned from you was that it wasn't just about the timing, it was about enjoying what we had while we had it, no matter what it was, right? I remember you telling me in the hangar bay many times that the mess wasn't always going to be what you wanted it to be, that you were not always going to have the support that you wanted to have. However, it was all about keeping your spirits and being able to help the rest of your junior sailors throughout their time, because that's what mattered. It didn't matter so much the acceptance. It didn't matter so much the trying to pick the next rank up as fast as possible. It mattered the connections and the ability to be able to help everyone that you came through your path. So that was part of something that I always want you to know that carried with me through my entire career after that. And believe it or not, VFA 102 was the place where I learned for the first time that the military was not just a temporary work where I was just meeting these random people and I would never see them again. That was a mindset. Whereas later on in life, I realized that everyone from 102 that I met, including yourself, I'm so amazed. Those are some of the best friends that I've had throughout my entire life past that.
Well, you did some incredible stuff though too. I mean, it's you remember the big, if you ever went into the division office where the 100 and the 100 and the 200 division chiefs were.
Yep.
And there was that big freaking gigantic whiteboard and we put the magnets. But one day I was just bored as hell, dude, just looking for ways to motivate, and sitting there. I can't remember the name of the chief that was in there with me. I was like, "Hey man, make this board, dude, to sit here and display the quals, dude. It'd be really helpful to really incentivize stuff." And there was a phrase that you remember Sean Blackwelder? So,
of course, I love that guy.
Oh yeah, and he was out there with his mustache and hit that up and getting all serious. Like, listen here, performance-based incentive, make it happen, And then I'll tell you what, the one I learned from actually really the two that I learned from the most there at that squadron were Mike Conroy,
Yes,
and excuse me, and Ron Taylor, and those two guys are just absolutely. Remember McPon Ron?
of course.
So, oh yeah, so just those two guys absolutely were two of my the two guys I just absolutely couldn't stop learning from, and that carried on all the way through. Mike Conroy was so motivating, dude. I love watching him out there at the bomb squad in our city Orioles.
He was one of the very few AO Chiefs that was safer flight and actively doing safer flight.
Oh, dude, God, he's brilliant.
Not
too.
one of the guys that got qualified and then just kind of dropped it because he was going to help him for their career, but he actually did it. And he also helped me a lot during that time and transition because it was seeing him talk. He embodied what he taught.
He's extremely influential.
Yeah. He wasn't just talking to talk. He was acting on it, which was phenomenal. So
I think,
speaking of that, what do you think before you got out? What were because you put in your papers for retirement, right?
Are we talking about the first time or the second time?
No, the first time. During that gap, and it was what, 3-4 years?
Right? It was about 3 years. Yeah.
Did you do anything to prepare yourself to actually retire, or had you already done stuff before?
Yeah, well, during the time, not so much, but had I done before? Yes, I did. For instance, in the beginning of 14, there were a few things that I was ready to go, man. I was so ready to just freaking pull that freaking handle, dude, punch out with that Macy's, dude, and be gone. But the thing was so it was January or something. I went back out to, no, it was February. Went out to Long Island. I actually stayed with my cousin, and there was a flight school over there, and I wanted to bang out my AMP, so I'd grabbed that. I was getting ready to go out because, you know, I didn't know if I was going to continue on with aviation or not, but, you know, I mean, you stick with what you know to some degree, right? So as I went over there, and it was called Heritage Flight Academy was the name of the spot. So I went over there and got my school on, and it was a pretty dynamite little program. I liked what they had there. So rolled out there, got certificated up. And I wasn't sure if I was going to keep on with that or if I was going to want to stay on the water, dude, because, you know, sailors, nobody likes a little water. What can we say? So, you know, we lived up in, well, I was living up in Monroe at the time. So I scooted down to Portland sector at the Coast Guard and banged out the, believe it or not, dude, I got my Merchant Mariner credential too, man. Heck, that looks a lot like a passport, believe it or not. It's just orange and stuff. Bang that out, got the TWIC card, did like hitting that stuff up, started studying CDL, dude. Just wanted to make sure that like it would be easy to walk out. I didn't know Millington was going to be like, no, you know, but you know, it was cool though, you know, and so I was trying to do that. School was done. School had been done. School had, that's terrible grammar. School had long since been completed. So it was just wanting to continue hitting up next things. I was chasing my black belt. There was a guy named, what was Dahl's first name, Chris? Was it Mike?
No, it was John. John,
yeah. Absolutely brilliant, dude. So him and David Dowder were setting up over there running the airspeed thing. And there was a couple of people on the team, and we were chasing our black belt. But the dude that was like green belt. We were chasing our green belt. It was Chandra. She was working on her black belt. I think that she was trying to bang that one out. But I got the green, never did a little studying for the black belt, but the whole, you know, Kaizen thing, you know, the whole thing with airspeed and process improvement, that was good stuff, because I did know that like corporate America was real big on that, you know. I mean, we're all old enough to remember the sequester Navy. Remember that? Same mission, no money, you know. It's the same thing. These guys on the outside are always looking to save a buck, you know. So that's one of the things that helps out, you know, the lean manufacturing bit and that, and just plenty of things. So yeah, trying to chase every possible credential, trying to make sure that when that resume goes through the algorithms and all that algorithming stuff, that at least you can get a ping, you know, and try to get the interview, you know. So that was the best way to try to prepare. Now, to answer the second part of your question, Yogi, not so much on the next time. It was, I kind of, oh God, if there's one thing I could tell anybody in Japan, don't retire out of Japan. Don't retire out of Japan. Don't go home and retire, go back to the States and get your stuff together. It is difficult to do everything over the internet and phone calls and time zones and all that stuff. If you can absolutely help it, that's the one thing that I probably would do a little bit differently. I probably should have brought the squadron back to Point Magoo, but I was just like, hey, let's save some money. Let me out early. It was an easy way to get out and to roll out at the beginning of 16. No, at the end of 16, or at the beginning of 17. It was an easy way to get out at the beginning of 17. I hit the easy button, guys. I mean, I freely admit it, but I just wanted to roll at that time. I was pretty tired and jaded at the time, and it was time to skedaddle.
And I've noticed that a lot of people, especially senior personnel, when we get to that retirement stage, we're just like, hey, it's time to go. And then we don't take advantage of what could be, what could give us more juice for what we can do. You know what I mean? Just like you mentioned, the easier path would have been for you to, in retrospect, right? It would have been better for you to come here to the States, retire here, and then figure out your next move. Yeah. But at that moment, we reached that, our mindset, and it takes almost like an act of God or whatever anyone believes in to change our mindset that is worth
we get
it for
pretty
us.
set in our ways, man. Yeah,
exactly.
We get pretty hard-headed.
And for everyone that doesn't know, this right here is our friend Nuccio.
What's up, y'all? Oh, really, dude? You got a bulk out the turtle? Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. That's how. This is how I describe.
This is
actually how I describe everybody. I'm like, hey, yeah, I got this friend Nuccio. You know that sea turtle off of Finding Nemo? They're all like, oh yeah. I'm like, that's him, except for he's like 7 feet tall.
Yeah, man. I turned down the voice, I guess. I don't know. Just kidding. No, I could have been. I'm told for many years that I could have been.
Huh? The shell's the same color as your hair, man. See, he's even a redhead.
It fits.
True story, man. Yeah, where'd you dig up that where'd you throw that big old throwback picture there, dude?
It was from 102.
Oh, man. These jokers.
That was a swim call, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, man. When that movie came out, I was stationed in Hawaii, of all places, at the time too. A bunch of the guys come in like, hold up, man. I was like, what are you guys laughing at over there? It's like, and I just, dude, what are you laughing at, dude? Hello, what's going on over there? You know, and then everybody just starts falling out. And I was like, and I'm looking over my shoulder for Ashton Kutcher. You know, it's like, what the, you know, and then I didn't know about that movie at the time. Just who'd have thought, right? Or maybe I just hadn't seen it yet, but I went and checked it out and I was like, oh yeah, I like that turtle. That's what's up. Yeah, my guy.
So you prepared throughout your career to retire when the time was right. And then because you had prepared beforehand, do you feel that all that paid off, or could you have done more?
We could always do more. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. You could always, there's always more that could be done. But like, I also had a family, man. You know, I mean, you're doing full-time job, you're going to school. I mean, you know, you're involved with, you know, depending on the mess that you got going on, you know, you've got the occasional volunteer thing. I mean, think about it, dude. Remember before our eval changed to what it is now. Oh, guys, you guys wouldn't have seen the original one. It used to be an E7 to 06 eval. It was the same format, you know. So but before it changed, man, like volunteer was a big thing. I'd do this school, that school. It was almost kind of like, are we ever going to do our job, you know, kind of thing. So, you know, yeah, there's always more to do. Did I do enough? Maybe, yeah, maybe not. Doesn't matter, you know, because am I cool with where I ended up? Yeah, I'm pretty cool with it. You know, it took a few jobs to really find something that I really, really, really like, you know, but really the thing is just stuff that is, if when you go corporate, if there are like absolute hard have to haves, you need to have that have to have before you get out. Like right now, dude, oh, you got your bachelor's. Oh, big flipping slippery deal, dude. Everybody's got a bachelor's. Like that's the new high school diploma, bro. You know, it's just, especially not like that stuff's all, so much of that stuff's online, and you can do the stuff like, oh, it's easier to attain now. You know, you can't plagiarize like you might would have wanted to. I mean, there's like entire software. Yeah, if for anybody that's thinking about plagiarizing, do that shit. Watch what happens. I mean, you get your stuff run through programs in these schools that just like look for, yeah, it's, you know, that part is, I would argue, probably a lot more difficult than regurgitating, maybe not regurgitating, but maybe like recycling ideas from a long time ago. I mean, how many times are our evals, dude? Hey man, I'm gonna borrow your eval real quick. We did it with evaluations. We did it with our sales evaluations.
There's 2 original evals.
Are they?
Like candidate, yeah, there's 2 original evals and all the others are plagiarized.
Oh, absolutely. You know, and so you take it, you tweak it, and it's a good foundation to try to work it. You know, you just can't do that stuff now. Not in college. Who knew? You know, I mean, you'll get cracks. Hey man, come in here. You got to defend your thesis. Like you got to. There's what are they called now? Capstones. I'm dating myself. It's been that long since I got my bachelor's. You know, so it's you know, it's a pretty big deal now. You know, now is it easier to do because like now you got a computer? Absolutely. You know, so the time management is the difficulty in time management goes down, but the originality of workmanship, I would argue, probably guys really need to come with it a lot more. You know, so just because AI is going to sit there and figure out that, hey man, somebody wrote that same paper, just used different words 8 years ago, because it's all uploaded, man. So it's just not worth the risk, you know. Ooh.
What programs did you use during your transition?
She's like, going out, dude, you know what? I was irresponsible, dude. I just rolled, you know. You did the little tap class, did my little thing, had my stuff on LinkedIn, upload your resume, try to get the job, you know, you try to do your thing. But I also knew that I wasn't going to a military concentration area, you know, so it's not like you're going to have that competitive. I'm not necessarily, it's not really competitive. It's probably the wrong thing to say. The favor that you would have, like, you know, if you're in Killeen, Texas, I'm sure they just hire all the Army guys. You know, if you're in San Diego, it's just like Navy and Corps. You know, it's like easy to leave on Friday and walk in a suit and tie on Monday. You know, there's just so many more jobs. So, you know, that wasn't there when I moved to Louisiana. You know, so I just went down there, and, you know, I was cool with trying to go sell hammers at Lowe's. But guess what, dude? You got a degree in career, dude. You're overqualified for freaking selling hammers, and you're underqualified and you're underexperienced to be a manager. They're like, well, you ever done like any normal management? I was like, I guess not. I mean, it's just, so some of the interviews were painful, but others were amusing. But like for the old guys, I'm gonna tell you what, dude, you're getting out as a senior chief or master chief or something like that. You're rolling out, you're in your 40s, man. Guess what? You're about to get interviewed by a 29-year-old manager. And that's a little, you know, that'll, you know, that's a little different, you know. It kind of reminds me of when your little lieutenant from way back in the day knew it all, dude. And, you know, it's not that they're bad. They're just, he's 27 or something. You're like 47. So I probably should have used more programs. I did not. You know, didn't do it right. Freely admit.
What about now?
Now I would suggest get your hands on every possible piece of information that one can in order to ease transition. there are a lot of things out there where if you identify as, when you're doing your, what is it, the W-9, I think it's not the W-9, but there's like God, if you guys know what it is, let me know. It's like an employment form, like where you identify, like if you're a veteran, you identify if you've got disabilities, you got identify as, like, there's a certain couple of identification things, but there's a lot of stuff out there that you can find out that gains a little favor. Definitely submit your, I think it's the SF-15, I think it was called, like, there's the thing for work, USA Jobs have that stuff ready, and be looking at all that stuff a year out, because that's a very, very long process, the whole USA Jobs bit. You need to start looking at that right around 9-10 months out, I would imagine, just to get ready for to try to get hired with something.
So when you first left Japan, your last day in the Navy, you fly back stateside, and then you went to, I assume, probably Tacoma. Did you go to Tacoma, or?
It was we got processed out of Silverdale, actually, over at the sub base.
Okay, so what was that process like, getting out at that time?
That was pretty simple, man. Like, dude, you know what? It was I went over there to PSD the day before, talked to a little PS. I think her name was Gamboa, if I'm saying it right. Oh, she was a rock star. Got my little packet, had my little stuff, went, shook hands, got on a bus the next morning. And it was really, I remember that day vividly, man. And you hopped on the bus, and it was the same bus I remember when I came over from Yokota, and rolled that thing out and got on a plane and rolled back home, flew into Silverdale. Spent, like, I think it was about 10 days out processing or something like that. That probably could have gone a little smoother. I don't know what we were doing, but I didn't have a whole lot going on, man. You talk about wondering why you're getting paid, dude. Out processing out Silverdale. What am I doing here? There was like maybe 90 minutes of actual work. Went, mustered, did the thing. I mean, dude, you had first classes getting out. They were handling business. We had these studs down there, just, they're doing that. It's like, oh, Chiefs, get out, dude. You're going to bother us. We got this, and it's just like, oh, cool, man. You got it, dude. Did that and went and ate lunch and go over, got on the bike, went for a run, and God, I was actually did the Uber driver bit there for a little bit just to kill time, dude. It was bad, dude. Got my Volkswagen back. Yogi, you might remember my black Volkswagen that I had over in Japan. And I had that in Japan, or in Washington as well. Got that out of storage and had that for about 16 years. I love that car. And then that last time, dude, that you walk across that blue line, dude, that's it, bro. And it's pretty cool, because I think it's just an inherent nature of who we are as humans, man. You got to face the adversity of what you don't know. You got to face the challenge of what you don't know. But man, when you do it, dude, you're gone. You got your ID card until it expires, dude. C'est la vie. So it was a simple experience, really.
Did you do a BDD when you were getting out?
Yeah, I did. Wow, dude, I haven't seen that picture for a long time, dude. Yeah, that's probably got to be a maintenance meeting of a sort. Where'd you dig that up, dude? Yeah.
We're not at liberty to discuss.
Jesus, man, I gotta freaking hide I gotta find the archives. That was a great tour right there. Yeah. So yeah, benefits before discharge, absolutely. So get that on file. We're gonna do that. I imagine you just went through TAP class. Do they still do it at TAP class? You submit the paper and then send it off to VA?
So you don't submit well, when I went through, they didn't have you submit it there. You have to pretty much be on the right timeline to submit it, but they pretty much tell you what it is. They give you like a brief outline on top of so much other information. So a lot of people just Totally skipped
Oh,
that part. But at least at the place that we did ours, they made sure that we logged into our va.gov account
good.
right then and there. So
Oh,
I
that's
have to
cool.
say they did a good job at that, at least.
So I can tell you from doing a TAPS class in Japan right before I came out here and doing a TAPS class here, you would think that, especially because it was within a matter of months, the amount of information and how similar, you expected them to be, it would be like pair on pair, right? It's literally night and day.
No
The amount
kidding.
of information that you got, that I got in Japan versus the amount of information that I got here. For me, that information in Japan, going through the TAPS class, I found it more enriching than the information that was being pushed here. And it was solely because it was a different curriculum, different instructors, and just the timeline was hurry up, I want to get out of here, versus over there it was like we're gonna go through the amount of information, and they have realized that retiring or separating out of Japan, it adds more stress to everything else.
Oh God, yeah, dude, it was horrible.
So they have changed it to where they provide you, I would say, more information.
That's good, man. That's great for
But
the
it's still,
guys.
it's still missing things. You know what I mean? It's still allowing other things to not set you up for success.
That picture up there, right there, was probably the greatest compliment of my career.
What was it about? Tell us.
Oh my goodness! So somebody in the department, I guess, ordered up a hammer, and the wrong size hammer showed up, and so that's like this big, gigantic, huge. I don't know where it came from. Well, of course it came from supply. I just don't know what it's used for. So I grabbed it around, and this is when I was up in QA, and I had this absolute dynamite staff up there. And what it was is just called, that was the enforcer or the regulator or the compliancer or whatever it was. And I just like to, this is that was my gavel, whatever. So one day the thing comes up missing, and I'm like, hey guys, what's going on? Where's my hammer at? And everybody's sitting there like, I'm like, yeah, where's my hammer? Get my hammer at. I'm looking over like that. I was like, Shaq, Dahl, drink that, Cobb, hit that, do this one. Looked over Aguilar, over to Lieutenant, even Lieutenant Frick. I think he knew, so it's, well, that's all free. Anyway, this thing's missing in action for like, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks. Finally, I just gave up, dude. You just got to call the search off, So one day, a couple weeks later, all the first classes are starting to pot, like the whole department. I mean, it was kind of like the unofficial first class mess for the department. I mean, it didn't bother me none. I'd freaking grab Lieutenant and was like, hey, we got to go, dude. These guys got some stuff going on, so it gives them a little bit of stuff. So anyway, I look over at Eddie Cobb, and I was like, hey, AT1. He's like, I was like, you got a meeting going on, dude? I didn't see it on the board. He's just like, whatever. He's kind of stammered through everything. And I was like, oh man, do your thing, dude. Hey, Lieutenant, we got to go do something. We'll figure it out on the way, and then Eddie's just like, no, actually, you need to be here. I'm like, no way, dude. I'm like way the minority. I ain't trying to sit here, be in a room full of aces. Time to go, so I'm sitting there hanging around for a little bit, and Eddie's just like, no, seriously, stick around. I said, all right, man, fine. And so then all of a sudden, one of the guys pulls that out and is like, hey, dude, I know you've been freaking wrapped up around the enforcer. Well, here you go. And I grabbed it. And so I think, who did that up? Boats Anton? Is he the one that dressed that up, Chris?
Man, I think so. I think, yeah.
And so he was a BM1 and he's in my section, dude. That dude, oh man, talk about it. That dude was a stud too. So it comes back. And so Yogi, imagine just a wooden mallet with a wooden handle. So it comes back, dude, and it's got all that blue and gold awesomeness on it. They engraved the thing, you know, they've got like cool little message and that cool little thing there that says, I don't even want to, I'm not even going to ask you guys where you got this wonderful piece of brass from, because it doesn't matter. It's on my hammer now, but it was wherever they got that thing from. It was just absolutely, and so every NAM or every com or no matter what, every one of those, nothing was better than this day receiving that from just these incredible first classes that I had. And the only thing better than that is watching your guys promote. You know, it was just that was the greatest compliment of my career right there that day. It was very emotional. I almost cried like a little bitch, actually, dude, if I gotta freaking be honest.
You didn't almost. You did. You balled up. You started tearing up.
Well, yeah, man. I mean, are you kidding me, dude? That was incredible what you guys did, man. It was extremely generous and thoughtful.
I think it was more happy that you found your hammer again.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, yeah, business, dude. I mean, we gotta, you know, QA's got to do our QA thing.
Oh yeah, man. That was awesome. that was amazing. This I remember being on the, like what you said, the unofficial first class mess, which for people probably don't understand, what does that mean? Well, chief petty officers, which are the E7s and above in the Navy branch, right? So chiefs have a mess, right? And it's where the brothers and sisters get together and they would meet. It's what we have as chiefs. That's what our power is. Our super secret power is our ability to sit together and collaborate with each other, and not just in the ship, but all around the entire globe.
The whole Navy.
Yeah, exactly. Whole Navy's our mess. So what we had there was the first class mess. And, you know, hey, I get it. You know, you guys turned it into a very good training ability for us, but we had a special group there. We really did. Almost all of them promoted to first class. And I remember,
did you say that correctly? No, did you say that correctly? I think all of them promoted to chief.
Yeah, almost all of them promoted. There's a couple that haven't, but that's different.
Yeah,
that's different stories. But yeah, it was just amazing. You know, amazing group of people, and what we had there, you know, you can't find anywhere else. And
wow,
it was just awesome.
That was down on the maintenance side right there.
Yeah.
I had to get you out of there, dude. The thing was with Dave and Tim down there, you had already done so much of you've made your mark down there. And I couldn't have you and Dave like alternating back and just inventing a position. So I don't know, man. I don't know if I ever really asked you about what was your whole thought process on the whole AZQAR experiment in something other than like a staff duty, because I'd never seen it anywhere. I don't think anybody else had. I caught a little bit of gas about it when I was saying, listen, I didn't bring AZ1 Elder up here. I want to bring him up as a 020 QR. God, what the hell is that? I was like, well, let's think about this. Of all the freaking CNAF top 10 programs that go off track, how many of them are freaking by definition managed AZ programs? I don't know, like 7 or 8 of them. I was like, well, I got an idea. How about we get like, I don't know, a SME, like an AZ perhaps. They can come up here and he can babysit that shit, you know, without the whole, we're maintainers, we're screwing it up there in the first place. I don't know, man. I figured, I never really got your opinion about it because I didn't really leave it much up to you as you're coming up as a QAR, you know, but I'd say you.
So for
you,
our
you
listeners, what is a QAR?
So,
oh, you got this?
want me
Go
to take
for it.
over on this?
Yeah, go
So
for it.
quality assurance representative is kind of like your representative that's in charge of all the quality of aircraft maintenance. So where we were on the ship. So we're not necessarily working on the aircraft themselves. What we were working on was the components of an aircraft. Think of like an engine, think of a control box that works a
Computers, the
different part of the
components, the
computer,
hydraulics.
all these different components, right? So we were ensuring that quality assurance was done, and we had our collateral duty inspectors, and then we had our workers. So our workers would do the work, then our collateral duty inspectors would verify the work was done. Everything we had two hands on it. Some functions require three. So it required a worker, quality, a CDI, which is a collateral duty inspector, and then a quality assurance representative. They come back and check everything. So we also ran all the auditing of programs, and we ran all the work center audits, and we also had our central library that shows us all how to do the maintenance. And it's a pretty big deal. And my thoughts on that, it was amazing. I was able to become more of an effective maintenance supervisor, a maintenance leader, because of my experience of learning everything that I learned while I was a QAR. And everybody that heard that was like, this guy was a QA, like, you were a QAR? You mean you were the CTPL? I'm like, no.
Yeah, right. They go right to that.
I helped the CTPL out. That was his library. I spent countless hours helping him out. There's not one moment I did not provide that guy support. I supported him. And we did amazing things in that. But I was also auditing programs, and I was getting my quality assurance qualifications on engines and corrosion.
Yeah, that was the thing, is you dabbled around in maintenance. That's where people I'll tell you what, when you got your first inspector call, dude, that stuff stopped. I never heard another peep out of, like, I was like, hey dude, my AZ's got freaking got one more inspector. Oh Jesus, come on. Oh, it's Rob. I made him see that guy, dude. So that guy and I, we actually traded anchors on the day of pinning. It was awesome. Yeah, he went over to Point Magoo, I think, over there. I'll tell you what, he can hand out an ass showing, dude. Let me tell you what, dude. Friggin', he dressed down Tim and me, Tim Wittenberg and me. There was whatever, something just wasn't firing on all cylinders, thing wasn't going on, and Rob was pretty heated. But I mean, rightfully so, dude. It was his maintenance department, and I just was over not doing whatever it was I was supposed to be, and well, let's just say that shit didn't happen again. He could string together a series of make you act right. It's pretty impressive.
Very, very intelligent guy.
Oh, I like him a lot. Oh yeah.
Except for, don't ever let him drink that, what do you call that? The pre-workout stuff. Like, he would do that, and then he would go nuts.
He's all freaking. Yeah.
Like, hey, lay off that stuff.
Now, the thing was, though, too, is, being able to get ready to separate. Because remember, the first time I tried to get out was when I was on Nimitz. First time I tried to retire was on Nimitz before. But the yeah, we can pause here for a sec.
No, keep on going.
Okay. The thing is those 8 QARs up there, and then Cleary, who is the CTPL, and then Aguilar after. Oh man, I really hope Chris has that picture where we took the division pick on the fantail. The things that those guys did is absolutely what made it easy to spend the time to afford the time to go get ready, to get all those certs, to get the things ready, to be networking, to start up the post-service job, and yeah, I owe a lot to guys like that. Chris over there, wherever was he at, taking the dog outside over there or something?
No, he's there. But some of the things that I would say is that a lot of junior sailors or junior personnel don't understand. You have to work with your team to allow each other to have your back, to be able to be successful, not just at work, but post work, whether it's collateral duties, whether it's volunteer service, whether it is, like you said, going to school, whatever those things are, everyone should be helping each other out versus just, unfortunately, what most of the time happens from perspective, and tell me what you think, is that sailors or junior, actually everybody, what they do is everybody tries to be number one, right?
Yeah.
But instead of helping each other out, they end up going, 100 miles an hour, and then they burn out. And then not only are they regretful at that point because they didn't get recognized for what they did, but they didn't accomplish what they wanted to because they were so focused on the thing right here in front of them.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah, how many times how many times do we get told leaders got to still be followers, and if you're still part of a team, you're still answering to somebody, if, like, don't get me wrong, I'm all about Sailor of the Year, I'm all about like these of the years things and stuff like that, but I think sometimes, and I'm not saying this is an absolute, this is how it happens, but it's certainly one of the things that can sit there and feed that I just want to be number one mindset. Like, because if you're number one, then you get that thing. But the problem is sometimes you're so focused on number one, do you forget how to be a team? And when we're doing, God, if I hope I'm saying this correctly, it's just, there's, when we get wrapped up with the individual accolades and the individual achievements and what we do for us, I think that we lose sight of our people. And I think that it sometimes can almost be self-serving. Now, the three of us, we all went through initiation at one point, or whatever name or whatever it's called. But there was one thing that I'd say that's common: is it initiation or transition, or what's it called now? Induction, or have they changed it again? Okay. But there's that one thing. Oh, you guys out there still being all these number one EPs out here. All this. I was sitting there. I was losing my mind one day at training or something. What the hell's the matter with all you guys? Last week you were all the best sailors. Last week you guys were all number ones. Now you guys couldn't lead ants to a picnic, and it is through through a little 7-week training process there. Of it's like, what happened? But that's the thing, is we focus on the, not necessarily an act of commission, but we do want to be the best, because of course we want to promote. We want the best for our guys. You want the best for our family. Of course we want the best for ourselves. But there it is, dude. That's one of my favorite pictures ever. Those are the guys that's right there. That's the one. I could look at that for 20 minutes and not get bored. It's a great group of guys. That right there, for everybody watching, is the absolute best division that I ever could even dream of happening. But they also did some incredible things for me too. So
we definitely kept them on the edge of a seat all the time.
You guys, man, there was never a dull moment. Oh my God, dude! Between Shaq and her man card and the violations log, just like you got Eddie, dude. Dude's just. Did I ever tell you what I had to do to keep that guy in QA?
You did tell me, but
he was so ready to go back to I think he wanted to get back to shop 10 because I mean, man's a big computer nerd. He's absolutely brilliant. But the thing was, man, is Eddie's freaking organizational skills. And I just saw certain leadership in that guy. I just know can't do it. I need him up here with y'all. And I was like, hey, AT1, dude, I need you to stay. I was, man, senior, man, you promised, man. You promised. I was like, what if you're a DLPO? And he's kind of looking at me like, can you give me time to think about that for a little bit? And I was like, yeah, I'm sure that's cool. But I mean, but what if you're running the show? And you know how I am. You drive the bus. All I'm doing is I just grab a rudder from time to time. And I'll just only chief up when I need to chief up. In the meantime, be the friggin' LPO and all that stuff. I mean, how many times did I ever have to ever with you guys? I mean, I can't think of a time where I had to even. You guys are perfect, man. I mean, what can I say? I'm not trying to get on your schlong or anything, dude, but you guys just did it right. It was a division chief's wet dream, dude. You know, which, by the way, that was the best part about an aviation guy going back to Nimitz. You know what the best part about it was? I learned how to be a division chief again. And it pains me to say that, you know, it's just, yeah, we got our thing in aviation, you know, and squadrons, man. I love me some squadron life, dude, but you kind of fall off there a little bit when you learn in a young division. You go back to ship's force, but oh yeah, section leader doing that stuff. It was great. But yeah, man,
it was an amazing tour. It was just the things that we were doing there. I found out that I would really love firefighting on that ship, you know.
Yeah. Is Mark watching this right now? I'm on to you guys. All right. I like your style, dude. Listen, man, you BCC'd me. This is a BCC. That's the equivalent of BCC, and that's a freaking mean maneuver, y'all.
What are we looking at here? Is this a seller's market?
I don't know, but
to be fair,
y'all
why did that happen?
Y'all got my best friend on the line here. What's that?
I said, why did that happen?
What's that?
Why do we have as you call it, shenanigans?
Oh, it's what we do, man. There's a few.
That's one.
You know.
2 is because we absolutely love you.
Oh shit. You know, so
3, because you really messed up our interview with Amy last week.
Oh, I know, dude. I felt so terrible about that. It's just like,
no, you didn't. No,
I legit, because I didn't call. I was in a different time zone. Oh my God, I'm making excuses.
So, what about the first time? What about the first time?
That was
because that was the second episode that you totally called into. And it was we were all good until you mentioned the word boobies to her, and then she lost her shit.
No, that was in a text. I didn't know she was reading it.
I didn't say it. I didn't say it.
It wasn't me. Y'all got half the tribe up here watching this. So.
Oh man, yeah, we had a blast, man, and we used to. I remember like you guys really empowered us, and I remember we used to like really hunt things down. Do you remember this guy right here? Oh man, you're gonna love this. You remember this guy? This guy in his hat, and it's kind of hard to see.
Who's it?
I remember this guy right here. You see this guy? He's wearing his coveralls.
A box around him.
He's got a coveralls with his 8-point hat. Do you remember this guy?
Was that the Marine that was with us?
No, that was the that lieutenant commander. That I would always be like, hey, senior, that officer's down there wearing his 8-point in his coveralls, and you'd be like, what? And this is before like we were allowed to do that, and it was the funniest thing ever because you'd be like, oh, I'm going down there.
Oh man, sitting there setting a poor example, man. No, that got a little, I kind of eased up on that. You gotta, there's discretion, but the big thing is never go enforce a rule that you're not doing yourself, man. That's for sure.
It was just comical because we used to kind of challenge each other all the time, and that was really what created it. It was not necessarily a game, not trying to say I'm doing one up, but be like, hey, we found this today. And we used to have something honestly, the round table thing was amazing. It was a learning experience for all of us. What I'm talking about for everybody that's listening, whenever we had problems with a work center during an audit, actually every audit, whether we had problems, whether we had good things, we would bring it amongst all of us in quality assurance, and we would digest what we found, and we'd be like, does this hold water? We didn't just hit somebody. We didn't just hit somebody because we wanted to hit someone.
No emotion.
We said, it was like, does this hold water? Okay, cool. It holds water. Is it something that we need to talk with the LPO about? Like, where do we need to move this to? So that way we could get some value added towards this discrepancy. Or, hey, we found this really great thing that this work center is doing, and we want to make sure that's spread all over the place. That was some of the things that we did. And it was an amazing thing. And
the irony about that?
We had actual like love for each other. It was definitely a well-functioning brotherhood and sisterhood in there.
The ultimate irony about that stuff is the first two times you guys were being a bunch of petulant brats about it. What do we need to such and such? I was like, nah, guys, just do it a couple of times, man. If this isn't paying off after like 3 work center audits, man, we'll ditch it. And then it really, I think what it was is because it was different. You guys hadn't seen it. But the big thing that I was doing that for was so that the entire QA had the entire feel of the entire department when it mattered most. Because here's the thing, dude, if Shaq went down, then odds are it's going to probably be the PR or something like that that's going to deal with that, because that's the other ordinance qual up there, the one that's familiar, maybe an AT or the AO. Or if Eddie went down, people needed to be able to cover down. So if that familiarity is there. But then the other reason too is that's how it's done at CNAF and the wings. Okay. I never told you guys that because I didn't want you guys to like, oh, you're just trying to, make the wing. Not like that it would have been, but I never wanted that idea. I wanted it to be, if anyone ever did go to a staff duty or something like that, it was, you could walk right into the round table and you saw the value of it then. But the first couple of times, oh my God, dude, you guys are freaking terrible, but then but then once everybody saw the value of it, it's just like, I didn't even barely need to be at the things anymore. Just let Eddie freaking run, or let somebody else freaking go ahead and share it, and I'll sit over there and listen and be like, hey, you guys got this. Loved it, man. I loved what you guys did.
What is the thing that you miss the most about your time in the military?
Ability to influence. When General Powell said it best in one of his elements of leadership, that the day that soldiers stop bringing you their problems, they've either lost faith in your ability to lead or you do not care. And it's very true, when your guys know that you care, you can take your experiences and say, hey, maybe this might not work for you, it's worked for me, or try this, consider this. And then when it did, there's a grand satisfaction of when your guys become better people. When your team, a guy goes and he has a kid, and he becomes a great dad, a better person. You know, it's bigger than, it becomes bigger than when the thing that you miss the most is being part of something bigger than you. Does that make sense? When you're a part of that machine, you know, and when they pull you the cog out of that thing, Yogi, damn it, when they pull you out of that one, that, and yes,
For the
Yogi,
record,
that's true.
For the record, he didn't say it. He texted it.
I know, dude. Oh, that's hilarious. That's what I miss the most.
You know, it's because I'm in the process. Today is actually my last day.
Oh, is it?
wasn't my
Tomorrow's retirement day?
Yeah, tomorrow's
Nice.
I'm a civilian. I'm going to be just like you. And I'm sitting here and I'm kind of reflecting on it. And, you know, I am learning what it's like to actually be home and to do this with kids running around the house and passing my real estate exam.
Oh, congrats, dude. I'm so glad that you passed that the other day. That's so awesome.
You know, thanks, man. And, you know, it's just, you know, if you could hear in the background, I have kids all over the place. And I'm learning how to do that. And the only way you can actually learn to do that is by talking to fellow brothers and sisters that have already done it before, you know? So what I'm trying to tell you is I reached out to you. You never lost your value.
I know. I appreciate that, man. I'll tell you, like, one thing that is cool, and there's a few chiefs out there that are going to know exactly what I'm talking about right here. Each year, it's not like it used to be, but I get about 1 or 2 emails or calls or something asking, "Up there, here she comes, kiddo. Bring dad to interview day, huh?"
Sammy, say hi. Say hi.
Hi.
Because you asked to say
Hi,
hi.
Sam.
Hi.
Hi, and this is her friend Jenna. All right,
Mm.
Go ahead. This is Jenna.
Kids are the best, dude. But what it is, guys, it's the occasional request for a charge, and it's really pretty cool. Ooh, he had to put the mute button down there too. You saw that, Yogi?
Oh yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I was like, okay, hey, it's 8 o'clock. Take your friend home.
Yep.
So, no, and that the charge, and that's where a lot of people probably don't know what we're talking about. Chiefs, during our season, we talk about talking with a mess, and getting a charge from a retired chief is getting out there and putting yourself in front of there and getting that wisdom. And, you know, that occasional charge that you give is you're still giving back. So, you know, man, yeah, it's kind of surreal, man. It's really surreal.
It's pretty cool. Like, watch, even though you're retired, dude, and you get a request for it, dude, you're gonna be like, yeah. And you're gonna be like, and it's like the best charge you ever wrote, dude. It's like, yeah, I'm doing this, I'm retired. And you put that little RET after your thing, it's like, yeah, you know, which will go miles for those guys too, because then, you know, the slug reached out to a retired chief, and too, it's just like, dude, because, you know, our service to sailors didn't come with an expiry date, you know?
Yeah. I think we should probably get to the sage round and alibis. Yogi, Don, do you have anything else that you want to throw out there before we get into our final questions?
Just when you guys get out, you know, for anybody listening, when you get out, you're going to hear a million thank yous for your service. You're going to hear the obligatory performative Thank you. You know, and what that is just, there's a lot of people out there that don't know what it is that we do. They don't get it. And like when you're really senior, getting out, losing that influence, your ability to influence the way that we're used to, I can see how it'd be kind of difficult, you know. So the very first thing you got to realize is nobody cares, you know. They don't care. And it's not necessarily because they don't want to, it's just they don't know how. So if they don't know how to do something, they're going to invest maybe in something else. So it's not that it's egregious, you know, it's just, you know, you get it, you know. So like I don't even wear Navy freaking pride stuff anymore, really, or any of that stuff, just because I got kind of tired of hearing it, you know. No, I'd be a liar to say I don't jump on the line at Delta Airlines once they say, hey, if you're retired military, come on board the plane, you know, and you know it's a full flight. Yeah, you know, but
yeah, you're making all
prepare.
the short people crawl over you.
The best thing is though, y'all prepare for that, man. If you spent 20 years in the service and you don't have at minimum a dozen certifications of a sort, if you don't have at minimum some graduate studies, if you don't have at minimum anything, if you are not thinking about, you know, that post service for the last time, when you walk across that blue line for the last time, dude, you have cheated you have cheated your family, you have cheated you did yourself a gigantic disservice. And I would also argue that it's a horrible example to set for our people, because they need to know that what the things that we're doing to get ready, because they're going to want to emulate us, dude. We're the leadership, you know. They're going to want to do what the chief is doing. They're going to want to do what the seasoned officers are. They're going to want to do that, you know. And if we're not, what example are we setting to tell these guys that they need to be prepared to do that if we're not doing it? So get your flipping degree, dude. If you don't have your bachelor's when you get out, you did it wrong. I'm not saying bachelor's is the end all be all of the job ticket. I'm just saying that that's the new high school diploma. That's all I'm saying, you know, because you're going to have a hard time competing with some freaking 23-year-old that some employer out there is going to be able to invest in, because they know guys our age who tend to be a little set in our ways, you know. So the thing that we bring to the table is the teamwork. We know exactly what diversity and inclusion is. When I see all this stuff about diversity, inclusion, and, you know, that's like, for us, dude, that's the easiest thing in the world, you know, because that's all we were for all this time. So, you know, it's always, we get amused a little bit about that, but know that what you just got done dealing with all these years, that's the easiest thing to walk into, because being part of a team is the easiest thing we can bring. Employers do know that as well. Certs, quals, invest in you, invest in your family, and just be the best possible person you can. And absolutely the best mom or dad.
Dude, I love it, man. What book or podcast do you suggest brothers and sisters that are transitioning to digest?
Man, you know what? One of the ones, as I was rolling out, would have been Eric Greeton's Resilience. He's a Navy SEAL, retired. And it's a compilation of letters from his previous team. Just to, if you look at the cover of the book, it's got the trident. It's white and it's white in cover. It is absolutely, I think there's like 20 some letters or something like that. And it's just these guys speaking to this guy of his value, and when kind of a little bit about what you guys sort of just kind of got done doing with me for the last little bit there. But I think that's the one. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's just absolutely a dynamite read. Getting out, you're going to be losing that steady income. You're going to want to embrace the David Box and the Dave Ramseys and the Napoleon Hills. You're going to want to get your money and finance on, you know. If you're getting into business, you know, look up Gittimer and Brian Tracy, look up some of those guys, if you're sticking in management, actually, like one of the best management books I ever read was something that Chandra Tremaine, remember Chandra from AMB? So she turned me on. I was looking for a new read. She's like, check out Kim Scott's Radical Candor. And I was like, holy shit, this is me.
Yeah, Radical Candor is amazing. It's an amazing book.
There's that. Look up, we're dealing with management stuff. Look up the Stephen Coveys, look up the James Clears, look up the Charles Duhiggs, dude. Another dynamite one, just, I know you probably only asked me for one, dude. I'm sorry, dude, but Daniel Goldman.
Unleash the library.
Daniel Goldman's Emotional Intelligence, man. I've actually read that one, I think, twice, man. That's those are some. But like with, Greed's Resilience, look up Compound Effect, The Righteous Mind, The Energy Bus you turned me on to. I thought that was a great 5-hour read, dude. That was awesome, dude. But really, dude, right now, I just got done the other day, dude. Was Mark Manson, The Subtle Art of Not Giving It, Yeah, it was a great one. And you think that it's just like all derogatory going into it, but it's there was some good stuff in there, dude.
It's an amazing book of resilience and what to put attention and energy into and what not to put attention and energy into.
Oh, absolutely. Because if your
attention, what is it, something that we say all the time? If everything is an emergency, nothing is an emergency.
What's the emergency then?
Exactly.
Yeah. Remember the maintenance meetings. Oh, this is all a pry one. Well, which pry one do you want worked on first?
Exactly. You can't.
No, it's not.
How do you organize it? You can't. That's the whole point. You know? And so the subtle art of not giving a fuck, it's a really good book to allow you to start diving into yourself and taking care of what it really is important to you and to the family and what it surrounds you. So yeah.
And as far as podcasts, I am on a gigantic Professor Peterson fit right now. I love Jordan Peterson. Listen to his stuff. He's got great messages. Some of the things that he does, just tying spirituality with humanity, with science, with everything. He's just like the dude's a brilliant mind. And I have recently started checking out like a lot of the stuff that he's been teaching, like his lectures before the class. So Maps of Meaning, 12 Rules were I like those ones a lot.
So shifting gears a little bit, what would you tell yourself and mostly anyone else joining the military before you joined, let's say 17, 18, what kind of advice and guidance would you give them?
All right, well, let me tell you what I would tell my 16-year-old, almost turning 17-year-old self. Finish high school. Yeah. I was one of those. Couldn't get in the Air Force, dude, because I didn't have it. But I had some college, but I didn't have 15 credits to hit that, So I knew I wanted to be aviation, so I was checking out the Corps. Well, they weren't doing that with Navy. They must have been low on recruitment. So they took me with the little good enough diploma that I had, that I got in as a butter, and that's GED basically. And got that in as a buzzer beater before I hit enlisted up. But, depped in and was ready to come in on a waiver, but yeah, it was that was a horrible decision, was leaving school early. That was it was no bueno.
Okay. Arguably you've had a really successful career because of all those challenges. And I mean, you retired Master Chief, 1% in the Navy of all the people that ever joined, ever make it to be that far. So
yeah, but
you know what
so
I mean?
What, dude? It's just a rank, man. So
exactly.
What? I mean, at the end of the day, dude, when you start putting ID cards together, they're all blue. Who gives a damn? It's kind of like we all bleed the same color. The only two colors we give a damn are green or blue. That's what I'm talking about with the freaking the DIE or IDE or whatever, diversity, equality, and all that. We're all the same. We just got different influence at different levels, we're different pieces on a chessboard.
One more question.
Yes, sir.
What advice, and I know you talked about it a little bit earlier, would you give yourself, now that you know how the transition process goes and everything?
I'm sorry,
What
which process?
the transition?
Oh, okay, sorry.
What advice would you give yourself prior to, and when, how early would you give yourself that advice to prepare to get out?
The day I enlisted.
Why?
Because every day is a preparation for whatever next step, whatever next journey, whatever thing. If you're not ready, it's you don't have to know what you're going to do forever, but by God, you better know what you want to do next. And whatever that thing is next, focus on that next. You know, just be, you know, it sounds weird, right? But like, I hate college. Freaking hated it. You know, a couple of college degrees. Oh, big whoop-de-doo. You know what motivated me to go to college? Once upon a time, I think you probably would have been about an airman at the time. Terry Scott. There was a thing, an initiative. If you wanted to be senior chief, you had to be an associate's degree. And if you wanted a master chief, you remember that now?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So that dude motivated a lot of people to get their asses back in the classroom, you know, because you didn't know if that was going to stay. You didn't know how long it was going to be, how long, or if it was going to go or whatever. But back in 2000, man, I think 2000, 2001, I got back in when I was at K-Bay, dude, started taking school seriously, Glenn, just one class at a time, man, maybe two classes at a time. And, you know, 10 years later, man, finally got my little square, did the little thingy, had the little freaking gold thingy, you know. But yeah, the day you join, man, be ready to make your plans and start formulating some stuff, because you know what? Imagine, you know, if all these guys, all these sports teams, right? You think that they're going to wait until the finals to get serious about getting the freaking pennant? No, man, they were thinking about that in practice in day one of training camp. You know, Seahawks are over there in Redmond right now, sitting there doing just that. I don't know if they're going to do something this year, Chris.
We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. But I guarantee you, coach over there sitting there right now. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
The day you enlist is the day you start thinking about that.
I remember there was a lot of like gruff about that, having college for the enlisted folk. And I honestly think that it was a smart move to push that, even though he couldn't enforce it completely because it wasn't possible because of restrictions. It would have really tied the hands, but it really influenced us to start thinking, hey, well, we really should be seeking higher education. Maybe not all of us getting degrees, but at least taking college level courses to become better at the jobs that we do. It made a lot of sense. And, you know, we as chiefs always teach our sailors to continue to learn. If you find yourself in the spot and you're not learning or you're not improving yourself,
then how are we doing?
You're worthless. You might as well just stop and get out. Don't be in here. Yeah. While you were transitioning out, and I know that it wasn't all rainbows and cupcakes and all that fun
sweet sprinkles
glitter,
and stuff.
Yeah, little glittery stuff, right? So while you were getting out, how did you get in the right mindset? And thinking, a lot of people, we didn't go completely into your story. So owning a business and then finding yourself where you're at today.
So much fun, dude.
How did you get in the right mindset to be where you're at today, man?
You know, the character of a person doesn't change at all. You are who you are, man. And I would argue that anybody who knew airman or third class me thinks I'm just a little older and a little more well-spoken and a little bit more, I mean, changed a bit. A lot of guys said that at my wedding, you know, and it's like, Jesus Christ, all he did was get older, you know? But you gotta fight. Amy actually was the one. I was sitting there struggling, man. When I got out, there was, you're trying to find that. You're trying to find. Oh my God, my brother's calling me. Damn it. Got to take that later. Sorry, dude. I just got derailed there for a sec. Staying focused, ironically. It was a bunch of different things, man. I got out, man. I managed an inspection station there in Louisiana there for a little bit. Then I rolled into, I went over, I was a firefighter. I actually got my firefighter commission over there in Livingston, did that for a little bit. I drove hot shot for a little bit. That was kind of cool. It was all local regional stuff. It was actually a retired helicopter guy. He saw my resume and he brought me into the company, and he had some other plans, even though it didn't work out, like whatever. After that, got into a company called ExpressJet, and finally got back to wrenching and stuff like that. I was able to dust off the toolbox a little bit. They folded after a little bit, and I was doing stuff with contract with Delta Airlines, their staff in ExpressJet. School teacher, that was after that whole place furloughed. And that was kind of cool. They're sort of, problem is the parents, man. That was the only thing that was just, it was a gigantic turnoff. I wasn't going to start that next career thing, even though I think that it would be, but really my co-teacher, my co-instructor and I, we didn't see eye to eye at all. It was pretty, and the problem was the students were starting to see that, and that's the wrong, no. So I went ahead, parted ways, went back and was working for La Migra, and that was kind of cool. And after that, I was just like, man, I want to start my own thing, and start up a tool business. And that was absolutely best. If you do not own an LLC, or if you have something, I'd tell this to anybody, start an LLC, get a business, do something, find something that you're passionate about, even if it's a side hustle, because your mindset in consumerism changes from how much do you make to how much do you keep, because now you're letting your business pay for so much stuff. And it's just a thing. But ultimately that didn't work out, and there were some things that I could no longer, things didn't work out in Louisiana, unfortunately, and it was hard to deal with. But so I sold the business off and paid off the debts and took care of that, and got restarted. And now I'm headquartered out of Elk Grove, California, and I love this. I'm in Spokane, Washington today. I was in Idaho last week. Now I'll be back in California next week in the Bay Area. Travel, man, nothing but travel. I love it. I love this job.
So why an LLC?
Why an LLC?
And how would you go about it for someone that doesn't know?
LLC is just a matter of it's the tax breaks that you get is the thing that I like about it. But I think also the other thing is too, is like, if you're going to take, the first thing you do is you go up in there, and when you're shaving with that guy in the mirror and you're looking at that guy and you say, would I bet on that dude? And if you can say, yeah, then go start a company, man. Go do it. I loved it. It was great, man. It's just rolling around. You get to be you. Every day you're interviewing for your paycheck, because you know that if you start effing up, dude, that you ain't going to get paid, dude. All your credibility, all your integrity, everything's based upon your character. If you make a mistake, what are you going to do? Your actions defined, and you're just providing a good service. Find your niche, and that was just something I really like. But when I was working for CBP, they were actually pretty upset that I quit and left. It was I actually just got an email from Ed the other day. He was letting me know that the position in Jacksonville opened up, and he's just like, "Hey, dude, the freaking jobs open up over there." But I was like, "Oh man, I already got this thing." But dude, if I wasn't doing what I was doing now, dude, I'd be like, "Hey, Ed, dude, yeah, I think I like that job." But yeah, you hit the LLC, dude, and it's a way to keep more of your funds. It's a way to keep more of what you do. You've got SEP IRAs that you can put into. You've still got your IRAs you can put into your own personal one. Your individual. Your business can pay for like a lot of your, if you're using your car, dude, you need your vehicle, you need internet, you need phones, you got to throw your trash out. I mean, let your company pay for that. And so much stuff is a tax deduction. So much stuff is, it's totally legal. Just have it. Oh, but don't do that if you're not going to hire a good tax lady or a good tax guy. Well, make sure you got somebody that's, not going to let you choke yourself. And it's extremely rewarding.
So what's the best way for our listeners to get a hold of you?
You can find me on LinkedIn, first name, last name, Donald Nuccio. You could find me on Facebook. I do, people don't necessarily post up on, because whatever, but you can give a ring, man, 225-590-2696, man. You can hit me up there. I'm really easy to find on Facebook. It's just, there's always a picture of an eagle or a flag or one of my divisions or a classic cars. Like, think right now, I got muscle cars going on right now. But you'll know it is, and it'll say Donald Nuccio and then my nickname Nüch. Or call one of these two guys here, man. They'll freaking go ahead and set you up.
Well, Nüch, thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for sharing your story. There's more to this story that we were unable to unpack in this brief time. And you're always welcome to come back on the show, and you're part of the tribe and you're part of helping everything grow, even if it's on the background. Thank you, bro.
I'd be glad to come back on with you guys. I'm absolutely loving what the two of you guys are doing here, because I think you guys got together one day. It's like, how can we continue to make a difference? You asked a minute ago, what do I miss about service and leaving? Well, what you two are doing now, this is the stuff that I'm not going to say immortalizes, but it's the thing that you guys said, we're going to do something, and you're doing it, man. You put your money where your mouth is, and I like it. And it's young, it's in its infancy, but in a couple of years, I can't wait to see what you guys do with this. I think it's a great project.
Man, it's an honor to have you on here, brother. And I really hope our listeners took some little nuggets out of what was said on this episode. Share these words. There's so much wisdom that was put out by Nüch, and all of us are brothers on here. All of us are brothers and sisters that are listening, and we're here to help each other out. So thank you again, Nüch, for coming on. For all of our listeners that are out there, it's not all rainbows and unicorns. It's your transition.
Better own it.
Your transition. Take charge of it.
Mm-hmm.
Return to Roots out.